Speaker of the House Mike Johnson warning of the Democratic Socialist movement taking a hold across the country as moderate Democrats are just now starting to push back. You heard Rebecca there. And former Chief of Staff for the White House Press Office, Yemisi Egbawale, joins me now. Also, Republican strategist Luke Ball is here to talk about all of this. Great to see you both. Isn't this gorgeous? Should we do this every single day?
Can this be permanent?
It's beautiful, and the lighting great. We love it.
It's not that hot.
It's
Yeah.
just hot and humid. That's all. But I want to actually bring this up because it's just happened. This is the minority leader of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, just posted a congrats on X, and I'll read it to you. This is for the DSA, folks. Congratulations to our newest members of the NYC congressional delegation, from public servants to union organizers to community activists. The path is different, but the work is the same. We must decisively address the affordability crisis and crush far-right extremism. Okay, they were just chanting not long ago, "You're next," to Hakeem Jeffries. Yemisi, what's happening here?
Well, he's playing the political game because he's seeing himself as maybe the next Speaker of the House.
And he needs their votes.
And he does need their votes. I think about the same way with Mike Johnson and Thomas Massey. You just have to play politics. But Democrats outside of the person who might be the next Speaker of the House do not have to do that. I don't think that more moderate and centrist Dems have to kowtow and have to make amends for a lot of what these people that were running in those districts in New York City have said. If you fundamentally disagree, and most normal people do, with positions like prison abolitionists, with some of the statements that they have made, with the actions that they took after October 7th, you should say so, because voters are watching. And not only that, you make the congressional delegation stronger when you draw a line in the sand.
Luke, but who is the leader of this party? I mean, if he becomes the Speaker of the House, he will be the leader of the House Democrats. Doesn't he have to speak for the moderates in the party, too?
Yeah, AOC, Mamdani, they are all the leaders of the Democrat Party right now. And Hakeem Jeffries is being held hostage by those progressive left members.
Do you think they have the juice to go all the way?
I think that it's possible if more people don't speak out,
Okay.
because people like my friend Yemisi are unfortunately outliers in the Democrat Party. She's willing to call out that radical element, but far too many are just silent. And speak now or forever hold your peace. If you consider yourself a moderate Democrat and don't like the direction your party is going, the best time to say something is now. It should have been a couple of years ago, because Mamdani and AOC were the pilot episode for Democrat socialism in the Democrat Party. And they could have killed it. They could have canceled it. But it seems like they've renewed it for 6 seasons in a movie, and they're just charging forward. And I'd lastly say conservatives aren't worried about socialists winning the argument. Socialism will fail on its own. We're worried about the collateral damage along the way, the damage it could do to New York and the United States of America. And I want to have conversations with reasonable Democrats.
You're worried about this spreading across the nation into the heartland. Let's zoom in on Florida 25. This is Congressman Moskowitz's district. He is being challenged by socialist Oliver Larkin. This is what the congressman said about it. He said, New York City is different than Florida. Florida is different in California. Texas is different in New York. Thankfully, we live in Florida, and we don't have Democrat socialists like they have in New York City. Shouldn't he be worried just a smidge?
I think it's twofold. He does have a point. Look, a lot of these folks in New York won in districts that went plus 59 towards Democrats that Kamala Harris won easily. The DSA hasn't had to have a real challenge. They've made blue districts bluer. So I think that is a fair conversation to have. However, there is a way that they campaign that is dynamic and different from the traditional way we have seen politicians campaign. At their core, the members of DSA are organizers and activists. And when you want to create and sustain a movement, those are the kind of people you need. So he's right. It's not going to be widespread. However, trickle by trickle, it'll happen.
You disagree?
I think, unfortunately, we've seen evidence that they are organizers who are willing to take on the establishment, and they don't want to come in and just tweak the United States. They want to fundamentally overhaul the United States. They want to get rid of capitalism. They want to get rid of a lot of the principles that our nation has been founded upon, and that's why it's such a threat, not just to the Democrat Party, but to the United States as a whole, because this type of socialist ideology will fail a nation. It won't just fail a particular party, a particular movement. It will fail an entire country. We've seen that over and over again. And I'm just deeply concerned about, as I said before, the damage that it could inflict along the way.
I think part of the momentum, the reason for the momentum that these socialists are feeling is their stance on Israel. It was a huge issue, a dividing issue for Democrats in 2024. I think it's going to be again in the midterms and in 2028. Here's James Carville. He was just on with Kayleigh McEnany on the Israel issue.
I think the government of Israel makes horrific decisions. I don't support them in any way. That's fine. I agree with you. But when you say Israel should not exist, then I'm gone. You left the house with me. That there's a whole difference between not liking a regime or a government and denying that some people have a right to exist. And I think we should draw a very clear line there.
Yeah, don't you agree with that? That Democrats should come out and say how they feel and draw that line?
I don't believe that Israel and Gaza played an overarching role in the 2024 election. People on the far left and the Dearborn coalition in Michigan never wanted to vote for Kamala Harris in the first place. They just wanted a reason to. I don't think that everyday Americans were so enraptured with this foreign policy issue that the feeling of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's administration siding with Benjamin Netanyahu made them not want to go to the polls. If you don't like someone, simply being a one policy issue voter is just an excuse. I believe that people on the far left never wanted to support Kamala Harris in the first place, and they're using Israel and Gaza. And I kind of wonder what they cared about before October 7th, because this seems to consume them and be the entirety of their identity here.
Luke,
I think it was an underlying tone before October 7th. And unfortunately, when that happened, it almost gave them an excuse to show their true colors. You saw progressives on the left on college campuses saying it exhilarated them to see the attack that Israel endured. And you saw in our young people this resurgence in the Democrat socialist camp of people who were willing to show their true colors in this disgusting ideology. Look no further than Dan Goldman, who was a darling of the left during the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. And yet he lost 65 to 34% in the last election to somebody who outflanked him on the left and criticized his stance on Israel.
And then got yelled at for going to this coffee shop this week.
And got banned from a coffee shop and said it was genocide juice.
And can we talk about his response? He was so decent and kind in his response to the coffee shop. That has to stop. Yeah. These people do not care about your feelings whatsoever. Dan Goldman should have hit back at that coffee shop immediately. Moderates have been playing it nice with DSA, and DSA has not given them kindness in return. It's time to be a little bit more gloves off.
Okay, all right. We'll see if that happens. Yemisi, Luke, great to see you. Thanks for coming on your Saturday.
Appreciate it.
Great to have you.